COVID-19 has permeated every part of our society, including our corrections system, whether it's the jails, detention centers, or our prison system, the Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry. Joining us is the director, David Shinn. Last time we talked with you, you told us that there was going to be serology tests provided for inmates. Where are we on that?
Hi, Mike.
Good
Happy
morning.
to be with you this morning.
Thanks.
We have been making progress. And I apologize if I misspoke the last time. We're not doing serology tests for our inmate population. We are going to be doing PCR tests for our inmate population. We have been doing serology tests for all of our employees. And to date, we have accomplished that at 6 of 16 of our facilities throughout the state and have done more than 2,300 serology tests for our staff.
And I may have misinterpreted that as well, so that might be on me. So the serology tests are done, and where are you finding, or what are the results of that you can share with us? How are we doing with staffing first before we get to the inmates?
Sure. I have to say our staff are amazing. They are, the ones that make our agency successful, and they have performed admirably in very difficult and challenging times. So my hat's off to them. Of the 2,388 serology tests that came back, we had less than 90 positives for our staff.
That's good news. That's that's good news to hear that. Now, as far as inmates go, one of the things that's happening now is you're providing not just PCR tests is going to happen, but are inmates getting masks as well?
Yes. Since the last time we spoke, Mike, we have been very, very busy. We provided facial coverings, masks to all of our inmate population last week, and we'll be providing masks to everyone who releases from our custody back to the community.
Are you able to keep a lid on the spread of COVID-19 in the prisons? Are we doing a pretty good job of that?
We are. I have to say, right now, of the 530 positive COVID cases since inception, there are 264 active cases, or 0.66% of our cases. The challenge we really have has always been our staff, and we have done an exceptional job of managing that challenge, and also by providing inmates masks. However, the one remaining challenge is the admissions we receive from counties. So
that's the concern, right, is that when it comes into the facility from somewhere else?
Absolutely. And we are doing our very best to control that at our reception center here at Alhambra. Every inmate who comes in the door is tested initially upon their arrival, and a second test is performed about a week or so afterwards during their 14-day quarantine period before we move them to other facilities throughout our system.
So what is it that you believe you're doing in the system that others aren't? We know that in Eloy, in the Immigration Detention Center, they have got a huge spike inside that facility of not only staff, but of inmates as well.
We initiated a compartmentalization plan early in this process, which has allowed us to manage in very difficult areas. What we try to do is keep inmates together if they're in a housing unit, if whatever they may be, to make sure that they don't cross paths with other inmates. And the staff work in that specific area, and they generally do not cross paths. We have remained vigilant from the very, very beginning in this process and have adjusted our plan in corresponding with the threat.
So the new protocol is going to be the PCR test for the inmates after that quarantine period, correct?
We have done 2 PCR tests for everyone coming into as a new admission during that quarantine period. What we are going to do is actually test every offender in our entire department, more than 39,000 right now throughout the department, to give us a good baseline for where we're at.
I always appreciate the time with you, and I know it's difficult for people that have never been inside, even in a visit in a prison. It's not an easy place to quarantine or to distance people, is it?
No, it's not, Mike. And with every challenge we've had, I'm tremendously grateful to the leadership that Governor Ducey has given us and the cooperation and partnership that the Department of Health Services has provided us. With every challenge we've had, we've worked with folks. We've received additional resources to help us, such as PCR testing. And it's through this collaborative effort through the entire enterprise and state government that has allowed us to be successful.
We've seen in the jail population that they've been reducing this either by postponing a sentence for someone or letting them finish their time at home. The laws are a bit different in the prison system in Arizona, but are you seeing that would a reduction in population, if you could release inmates that could safely return to society or finish their sentences at home, would that reduce the chance of spread, and is that something that's being looked at?
I don't think that releasing anyone would reduce the chance of spread. The blessing is that we have seen a reduction in admissions, with courts significantly reducing or closing. We've seen a significant reduction in admissions, and our population has actually gone down by more than 2,000, nearly 3,000 offenders over the last several months.
That's good news. I mean, obviously, we like to see that that's happening and not seeing a rise in crime in society. But it's always good to, if you can, keep people outside of the prison walls if possible. Always appreciate the time with you, and I hope you'll come back as all of this moves forward. We'd love to hear more good news of what's happening in the prisons.
Thank you so much, Mike, for the opportunity. It's great to be with you.
All right, thanks. That's the director of the Arizona Department of Corrections, Rehabilitation, and Reentry.